Welcome back to One Eye News, America's Eye, laser focus on the truth. I'm Johnny D, keeping my eye on the truth for America. We are spotlighting the number one threat to America, the anti-American citizens movement. And I am coining that phrase right here and right now. The AAs for the anti-Americans. The most damaging evidence is still yet to come, folks. And this may take 2 more segments to conclude since we have just so much material to cover. But by the end of this series, we will connect all the dots and provide the missing pieces to the puzzles that America needs to have a complete overview of the number one threat to America. Okay, before we dive back in, we want to briefly mention Larry Elder, who is one of the honest people out there that is telling the black community the truth. And so please check out Larry Elder. I've been a big fan of Mr. Elder for years now, and he's great. Next, I want to mention the weak Republicans, really quickly, that are the swamp creatures trying to keep their power by sabotaging President Trump, like Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell, who are ineffective and weak, as proven by the 7 years that they had to get one job done, and they couldn't even get that right. Why, folks? There is a reason. Next, we want to send well wishes to Senator McCain in his battle for cancer, but we also want to recognize that he has been and become a Trump obstructionist, and voting against the repeal is a big disappointment, but Senator McCain is still mad at the president for his earlier comment, and he seems to be taking this personal. And this is personal for Senator McCain, and that is a shame. This is part of the problem in Washington and the machine. I will give another analogy. The corrupt media and the corrupt politicians are all cockroaches. And Donald Trump walked in and turned on all the lights. And now they're all scrambling for cover so the people won't see them. But we see them. And we recognize a cockroach when we see them. And that is what President Trump has done. He has exposed the truth of who they are. Okay, let's pick up where we left off, and we're going to go back and start with Reagan. And we'll quickly get through these ex-presidents to get to the main meat of the information here. So, Ronald Reagan, he was probably the best we had for the people, I guess. Since Kennedy anyways. There was questionable activities during his reign, of course. He had trouble remembering. Then, of course, there's the Iran-Contras, which we know was covered up. And then there was the Oliver North and Noriega situation and the war on drugs, which a lot of people don't really talk about. But give me a break. I watched and I listened and I was watching what they were trying to sell us. And I saw the truth, and from my perspective, it was obvious, of course, that they did the Contras, number one, and that Noriega had a deal with the CIA, and somewhere Oliver North was in that mix, and Noriega had a deal for them to look the other way, while Noriega transported his cocaine into the U.S., and in return, Noriega did favors for the CIA and our government. They double-crossed Noriega when Noriega defied them by continuing to import coke after they told him to stop. And, these were some of the factors that, contributed to that. There were other factors as well, but this was the main factor that led to the assassination attempt on Oliver North. And this is why Noriega targeted Oliver North for execution. And of course, this was all covered up by the government and the CIA and everybody else. So maybe the media was in there too. Reagan did do some good things, of course. And he was a cowboy and had a talent for passive-aggressive diplomacy. And that served America well. And he was probably the best we had since Kennedy, like I said before. But I got a lot more to say on Reagan, but that's a whole other show, so let's move on. Let's talk about Bush 41 for a few minutes. And, he's part of the old guard and a former head of the CIA. So my observation at this point in time is that the head of the CIA is equivalent to the head of the KGB for Russia, right? So I will say that any head of any intelligence agency has ordered killings, and possibly killings of civilians too. Come on now, folks. It happens. It's not a conspiracy. It's just reality. Governments kill. All governments, and our government's no different. We're just better at hiding it and covering it up. The intelligence agencies all have their own agendas, and the American people are always in the dark in the name of national security, which allows for many unethical practices to occur. Now, having said that, many other governments may kill unnecessarily. Maybe our government doesn't do some of the things other governments do, but having said that, killing is killing. So my point is that everyone is making such a big deal about Putin, while at the same time eliminating Bush from those same ranks and elevating him above those around the world whom held similar positions of power and then went on to become the leader of their countries. Okay, so it's just an observation, and I am simply pointing out that our president was the equivalent to the head of the KGB in Russia. So let's not lose sight of that fact, that we have had similar intelligence officers running our country. Now again, just for the record, I want to be clear on my statement and my position. I am not advocating for the Russian Putin, as he is clearly a leader who is engaged in the killing of innocent people, and I am against killing, and especially killing of the innocent. I do not endorse, condone, or support the Russians or Putin. However, America must deal with Russia, and that's just reality, folks. Having said that, Putin and Russia are really just a shadow of the former Soviet Union. That was a powerful and a real threat in the 1980s. And the Democrats, they were all in bed with them while we were in the Cold War. And America was in fear of the possibility of a nuclear attack. And the press kept that in the headlines as well. Scaring America with the possibility of a nuclear attack while the Democratic Party is, engaged in collaborating with Russia. I guess no one remembers. No one's going to ever come close to Teddy Kennedy meeting with the Russians to collaborate to defeat Reagan. Come on. I guess the Democrats forgot about all that. Anyway, let's get back to Bush. Remember no new taxes? Read my lips. When I heard that, I immediately said, well, taxes are definitely going up. Politicians are like car salesmen and attorneys. When their lips are moving, they're lying. Okay? By the way, on a side note, attorneys are ruining our country. I may be repetitive on this point when it comes to this fact, but it's a fact. And again, not all attorneys are bad. Not all of any race are bad, and attorneys are their own particular race. Anyhow, I'll just point out that Obama, Clinton, and Comey are all attorneys. So a lot more to say on that, but that's a whole other show again. So let's move on to Clinton. Oh my Lord. What can I say about... these people were clearly the most immoral president and first lady in American history. And I guess I really have to address them as a team, because they are a team. So, and they're a team that has sold out America and are still selling out America, I might add. And that kind of negates all of Bill Clinton's actual achievements as president, and that's really a shame. Because, well, first, everybody would most likely agree that Bill Clinton's greatest accomplishment was the economy. And I think we can all agree on that. Listen, folks, I'm not disputing the fact that the economy boomed while Clinton was in office. And I am recognizing that he did balance the budget and left a cash surplus for America. But I would simply point out an observation that is, and always has been, overlooked, and that is that Clinton was a benefactor of the tech boom. simply in which many, many millionaires were produced as a result. And so the country was flush with cash because of the tech boom. Not necessarily because of Clinton, but because of a combination of maybe some good moves and some excellent timing for Clinton. You know, it's the old adage, location, 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 and being at the right place at the right time goes a long way. So, you know, he did some good things there with the economy, so I'm going to give him that. However, you know, like I said, that was all wiped out. My impression of Clinton was that he was Slick Willie. No pun intended. But, you know, he's a dog. You know the guy. You know someone like him in college or growing up or in school at some point. And, you know, he's likable enough and he seems to be jovial and fun to be around. But that's all a facade because he's a con man and always was. So the fact is that, you know, they are a team, you know, of, well, con artists. And Clintons, they were, you know, thieves and scam artists since the early days. And, you know, that's why they were so successful in Washington. Because, you know, we know that Washington has become a den of thieves. And the Clintons ran a scam in Arkansas, you know, back in the day that was similar to the foundation scam, but just on a much smaller scale. And they were also involved in the Whitewater land scandal and got stung, as everybody knows. So they eliminated any threat to their future by intimidation, and some would even say by elimination. Yeah, there was a lot of suggestion that they whacked out Vince Foster, who happened to be the only one guy that had the evidence to sink them for good. So, hey, you know, I'm just making an observation, and all I'm saying is there was a lot of discussion about that, but not enough, maybe. And there was a lot of coincidences and correlations that should have maybe, I don't know, been examined a whole lot closer. You know, other main players in that land scandal, like the McDougalls, they were taken care of, so to speak, with Susan McDougal financially compensated, and her husband just mysteriously died of a heart attack in prison. And, oh yeah, he did not support the Clintons, and he went against the Clintons. And then he died, and any info he had to tell died with him. Okay, I'm simply pointing out that there seem to be a lot of people around the Clintons that die. And I'm just saying that is a fact. Then there's the fact that the DNC was complicit in colluding with the press. I guess I'm moving on to Hillary Clinton a little bit here, but and other factions during the Clintons' last run. So the Clintons, the DNC, the press, they were all colluding with other factions during the Clintons' last run. And let's make no mistake, Bill Clinton was a part of that. So again, this kind of wipes out all those achievements that he made. You know, and they were all actively engaged in anti-American activities. The DNC has become a criminal organization that has been committing felonies on a daily basis. Okay, they are a criminal enterprise that even uses their power players to commit obstruction of justice or whatever is required at the time to achieve their objectives. Okay, so if you look at that, there's a lot of evidence to see that, and we have the documents to show all of the collusion between the press and the DNC, and so on and on and on, folks. So let's not lose sight of that. I believe there should be a RICO Act charge with all of these players who participate in this criminal organization with election tampering and money laundering and many, many, many more worse crimes than that. Okay? These are crimes. And if this was a criminal organization like the Mafia, they would be hit with the RICO Act, and this is a criminal organization now. Okay? Let's not bury our heads in the sand. The DNC has become a criminal organization. For instance, Debbie Wasserman Schultz was the chair of the DNC, and her buddy was Donna Brazil, who was the person from CNN that was leaking the debate questions to the Clinton campaign. And cheating Bernie Sanders out of his rightful spot, I might add. I mean, Bernie, I think Bernie would have beat Clinton if he would have had a fair chance. But anyways, my hair was on fire when these things were happening, and it still is. Because, you know, the head of the DNC was caught lying, cheating, and stealing from the American people. Okay, so we should not allow this person to remain a congressperson. Why is this person allowed to remain a congressperson? That seems ludicrous to me, folks. She is guilty of anti-American activity, and no one says a word. Okay, so, you know, after she was caught, then the DNC installed the disgraced Donna Brazile in their spot. Okay, we're just interchanging rotten apples here, folks. Come on. You know, we all saw Megyn Kelly exposed Donna Brazile as a liar and a cheater on television when she interviewed this lying, cheating blight on America. Okay? And she looked right in the camera. She lied to you all. She lied to every one of us, and she's still lying. Okay? Because that's what they do. On a side note, Donna Brazile, I believe, is still crying over the 2000 election when she worked for that charlatan Al Gore, who may have robbed, he may have been robbed by the Bush family and their cohorts in 2000. That's a very good possibility. So I'm not saying that they were, but Donna Brazile certainly believes that, and so she decided that anything she could do to rob, this election, she was going to do. And two wrongs don't make a right, Mrs. Brazile. Anyways, Wasserman Schultz thinks she is above the law and has used her position to lie, cheat, and steal from the American people. Again, folks, it's too much. So she has even threatened the Washington, D.C. police chief for confiscating her computer that contains damaging evidence, that may be incriminating to her and the DNC. And to her anti-American activities and her anti-American people who work for her. I mean, come on. And, these people were paid by the American taxpayers. Okay, so you and me, to the tunes of millions for IT work. These are the people that she hired that are, they're basically terrorists. Okay, they're definitely anti-American. Wasserman Schultz kept these people on staff and paid them with taxpayer dollars, millions of dollars, for IT work that was marginal at best. And most IT people are not making millions of dollars. And actually, these people were previously fired from retail positions because their IT work was weak. Yet it was good enough for Wasserman Schultz. And everybody else cut ties with these people once they found out they were anti-American, yet Wasserman Schultz kept them on board. So why, folks? And she funneled $300,000 over to Pakistan through them. Why? Anyhow, she told the police chief that he had no right to confiscate her property, and he will face the consequences if he refuses to return her property. Okay, so folks, that is a threat. And this is a clear threat and should be considered no less than obstruction of justice, and she should step down immediately. And a lot more than obstruction of justice, I would say, because she's a crook who is stealing from us and giving our money to these terrorists who are funneling cash along with the intel that they stole from our government, that they had access to, illegally I might add, through Wasserman Schultz. And they had access to this information, and they funneled it right to the Middle East and to our enemies, and it's as simple as that. This is the DNC, folks. Okay? This is a criminal organization. Again. And so they do not have America's best interests at heart, and they never have. The DNC will probably install a new police chief that will look the other way, while the DNC rapes America some more. Anyways, there is evidence to verify the fact that the DNC is and has been manipulating the DC police to hide the truth about one of their own staffers. Debbie Wasserman Schultz needs to be removed and investigated and then jailed immediately after her conviction, because she is guilty of her crimes against the Sanders campaign and the American people, and now the new charges against obstruction for threatening the DC police chief. Why is she allowed to remain and continue to break the law? Why, folks? I mean, we should all be asking this question. And threatening law enforcers that are simply doing their job. Why is she allowed to stay? This again points to the lack of laws that apply to the DNC, Hillary Clinton, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Donna Brazile, Loretta Lynch, Susan Rice, Valerie Jarrett, and Barack Obama. And anyone at the DNC for that matter. I noticed here that there's a lot of women in that list that I just named. Only one man. That's curious. Anyhow, again, my hair has been on fire for months after watching the DNC and Clinton and all of her minions break whatever laws they want with no fear of repercussions or even being investigated, because they knew they would never be investigated because Obama threw the water on the fire. Okay? They will only be investigated if we, the American people, demand it. And we should all demand equal investigations and punishment for any who would subvert and compromise America. Okay, I am so sick and tired of everyone saying, oh, that's in the past, let's move on. No. No, folks. These are crimes. We don't move on. Okay, the statute of limitations has not run. Were the Nazis in the past, when the Nuremberg trials were taking place? Well, maybe that's, an exaggeration, but come on. Just because they broke the law last year and every prior year to that does not mean they get a pass this year, right? So by that standard then, Nixon should have been given a pass, right? But no, he was not, because he was not a Democrat. Anyway, there is so much damaging information that links the DNC and the Clinton campaign to many crimes that were just turned a blind eye to, and that is wrong on so many levels. We need to investigate all of the criminals in the DNC and remove any and all of them from office, like Wasserman Schultz, who is an operative for Obama and his anti-American agenda. I want to mention a DNC staffer that was murdered. Seth Rich was a DNC staffer during the 2016 election that raised questions regarding the Hillary Clinton campaign. And many people believe that he was the leak that provided WikiLeaks with the incriminating emails from the Clinton campaign, and it was not Russia. Okay, it may have been Seth Rich. So Julian Assange put up a $20,000 reward for information leading to the assassins of Seth Rich. And he also confirmed that Russia or no other state did not provide that info. Okay, Russia or no other state provided that info to WikiLeaks. And I would also point out that WikiLeaks has a far better record than any of the corrupt mainstream media entities that are serving up the propaganda. Unfortunately, that is a fact, and that is true statement. They have never been proven wrong in their 12-year existence. And I do believe that is very significant, and a very significant fact that the media disregards. Okay? The Rich family, they hired a private detective and a former Washington, D.C. homicide detective, and a very good one, a very celebrated detective, that has uncovered some very incriminating evidence. That the Washington, D.C. police were apparently ignoring or just sweeping under the rug. Maybe that will change now with all of the threats to the police from the DNC and this, quote, congressperson, Wasserman Schultz. And there has been another DNC staffer who was actually the individual that Seth Rich had a big problem with. And this person, after the murder of Seth Rich, called the Rich family to intimidate them and to question why they are hiring a private detective. And this is very telling to me, folks. Okay, so now I'm not saying that the DNC was involved here, but there seems to be a lot of circumstantial evidence that points to the DNC, the Clinton campaign, and Clinton. Okay, so again, this individual called the Rich family and began to initiate intimidation tactics to the parents of Seth Rich. So that's concerning, and that should be, a high priority of the DC police. Okay, so let's get back to it. I got off on a black hole there. So in the Clinton administration, of course, the investigation went from Whitewater, and then it turned into the blue dress, and all of the women who were allegedly assaulted by Bill Clinton, and even accusations of rape, and more payoffs and intimidation tactics, and hashtag bullying. Okay, hey, isn't that a thing? Isn't that bad? Why did nobody recognize that then, or now, in the Clintons' case? They always get a free pass and a get out of jail free card. Okay, every time. They get to bully and they get to do all this stuff to everybody, and now we got Clinton and Pelosi and Warren and their army of angry, nasty, man-hating women attacking white men just for breathing. Anyway, whatever happened to Stronger Together? Oops, I'm veering back into that black hole. Anyways, okay, let's get back to it. It appears, folks, that the facts would suggest that Bill Clinton is a real serial sexual predator. If you're going to label that to Trump, then you have to label that to Clinton, because Trump talked about it, and Clinton did it. So there we go. And this guy was willing to pay a whole lot of cash to make these problems go away. Bill Clinton was. So having said that, I would also point out that I have made observations over my lifetime that any powerful person is targeted by others trying to glam on. And in this case, we are talking about women. So that gives you ladies kind of a bad name in this regard. And really no one ever holds your feet to the fire for your actions when you act like this and with little regard for yourselves. And then, every woman demands everyone praise you and put you on a pedestal because you're a woman. Well, ladies, I'm sorry to say, I'm an equal opportunity exposer here, and not all women deserve to be on a pedestal. Okay? This speaks directly to Hillary Clinton and all the women who wage war against men for breathing air. Okay? Finally, if the Clintons would have ever gotten back into office, they had a grand scheme to rob the country blind and use all of their power to amass as much wealth as possible while selling out the country for their own personal gain. Hillary is as greedy as they come, and she was not going to let this opportunity pass this time, especially after watching the Bushes enrich themselves and their friends, and then watching Obama installing his anti-American agenda and stealing the country blind. They were going to bilk the people any way that they could. And I would recommend that everybody read Clinton Cash, written by Peter Schweitzer. Mr. Schweitzer lays it out very well and details the mass corruption that drive the Clintons to use their positions in order to sell out America. We will need to revisit the Clinton Corrupt Foundation and all their other scams as well in future episodes, because there's just so much there. But at this point, we're going to move on. And hopefully there will be some investigations at some point. Please? Republicans, weak Republicans, get off your hands. Get that special prosecutor going. All right, let's move on to Bush number 43. Okay. Now, from my perspective, George W. Bush, he's a likable character. He is. He's kind of a, aw shucks kind of a guy. But, having said that, I believe that his old man and the rest of the Republican establishment may have used him. He was most likely in the dark about the real agenda, but was maybe manipulated when it came to tactical movements against the Middle East a little bit. Now, I'm not suggesting that George was stupid or is stupid. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying he may have been manipulated, and it was clear that he was acting on pure emotion when he said on camera that Saddam Hussein tried to kill his dad. Okay, when anybody tries to kill your dad, you want to kill that guy. Okay, so he wanted to go after Saddam Hussein, and that was clear. He may have been influenced by his own emotions, and that happens. So, but then he tried to sell the idea of weapons of mass destruction, which, by the way, I, with the available information and intel, knew immediately that there never was any weapons of mass destruction by simple reasoning and deduction and common sense. Was it a possibility? Yes, of course it was a possibility. Anything is possible. However, the intel ruled that possibility down to a very small percentage. So I did predict that there would never be any weapons of mass destruction found. That was only about one thing, and that was oil. Plain and simple, folks. Saddam never was a world threat. He was just a monster that wanted to rule his region. And it's as simple as that, period. He just wanted to, kill his own people. He didn't want to kill America. Anyhow, Halliburton cleaned up, and all of the Bush's friends got rich and richer. And I've been saying for years, when the Clintons were in power, they were robbing and scamming the country blind. When the Bushes got back in, they made the Clintons look like pickpockets. And when the Obamas got in, he made the Bushes look like second-story burglars. Come on, folks. I mean, it's right there to see. Because Obama devastated the country by stealing from the people through Obamacare and other policies that redistributed our wealth to the rest of the world through these policies, thus debilitating our entire economic and military institutions. Okay? Now, everybody will say, well, the stock market, yeah. Okay, so how's everybody feeling? Has everybody got a lot of money in their pocket? I'm guessing that all of you don't have money in the stock market. Okay, so these stock market people, yeah, they all make great money. All of us real Americans out here, busting our humps, we don't got that stock market money, folks. So I don't want to hear about that stock market and Obama. Okay, oops, I guess I've already begun with the Obama years, so let's begin with the Obama years. Okay, President Obama. Well, the first question I have a very serious question. And I would like to pose this question to America. Is Obama the first anti-American citizen voted in as President of the United States of America? That is my question. Question mark. Is Obama the first anti-American citizen voted in as President of the United States of America? Question mark. Well, I think he is. And there is significant evidence that will back up our claim and connect the dots for the American people. Okay, so I know how this sounds, folks. And I know what you're thinking after listening to these last few hours. And I may be disparaging a former president or several of them. But like I said, if you're a president, you're ripping me off and lying to me, I'm calling you on it. So if President Trump ever begins doing any of this nefarious stuff that these guys did, yeah, I'm going to call him on it. Okay, so anyway, first let me start at the beginning. I, like the majority of Americans, have heard very little of Obama before he showed up running for president. Actually, I did hear of him when he was a senator, but I did not look at him closely. When I first heard him speaking, I thought, this guy sounds pretty smart, and he speaks well, and he's obviously highly educated. So I began to listen to what he was saying, and I gave him a chance to convince me. You know, again, he sounded good in his articulations until I decided to listen to what he was espousing, and I decided to educate myself on who this man is. Okay, so I began to do research and pay very close attention to his speeches and his body language and his vision for America. Now, I know what I'm about to disclose has already been exposed by a very few people, and I do mean a few, as there are not many people that are willing to rage against the real machine. By the way, now that I mentioned that, Tom Morello, not raging against the machine anymore, my friend. You're raging with the machine. I had to mention that real quick. Let me move on. Apparently you rage with the machine now because you sold out. Okay, let's get back on track. First off, I learned the fact that Obama was a disciple of Saul Alinsky and the Weather Underground. So, along with William Ayers and Bernardine Dohrn. So, I began to research the Weather Underground. I had known some about them, but I began looking into them closely. And if you don't know who the Weather Underground is, they're a domestic terrorist group from the 60s and 70s, and Obama was their disciple. Okay? This is public and common knowledge, yet ignored, or given a free pass program from the left and the media, and the right says nothing. Why? That's my question. Why, folks? Why was nothing investigated? Now, come on, people. These are facts. And the fact is that Obama launched his presidential campaign at Bill Ayers' home, in his living room. An admitted domestic terrorist. That is a fact, folks. Come on now. And that speaks volumes. For an American president who launched his presidential campaign at an admitted domestic terrorist home. What if President Trump would have done that? Come on. Give me a break, folks. And for any who are unaware, the Weather Underground bombed government buildings, the Capitol building, and police stations where a cop did die. Isn't that murder? Okay, folks, that's murder of a police officer. And these were Obama's early associates. And they all waged war against the government and America. What a great guy. Give me a break, folks. Come on. Come on, folks. Let's dig our heads out of the sand and let's see what's in front of our face here. So, my next question. Are these the actions of an anti-American citizen? Question mark. Or are they the actions of a domestic terrorist? Question mark. You tell me. Which is he? Question mark. Or is he both? Question mark. And I know I'm going to get everybody saying he's neither, he's none, he's a great American. No, he's not, folks. Okay? He's one or the other or all. Okay? Because all of the evidence points to that, and we're going to go through that, and I will show you the truth. So, I will try to simplify this, although with the mountain of shit that Obama left behind, it will be difficult. There's so much information. That's why we take so long to get through it. We have to tie all these things together and connect all these dots so everybody can see what is actually happening in America. Okay, so what I did when I started studying the two candidates running in 2008 was I made a list for each candidate of achievements, associations, beliefs, core values, morals, and so on. And I do that every time. So this is what I came up with. Obama, before the election, 2008, he was a senator for 2 years, he vacated his senator seat to run for president. He was an attorney, a community organizer, whatever that is, but we do know what that is, and I'll get to that later. He had radical associations with the Weather Underground, a disciple of Saul Alinsky, and associations with William Ayers and Bernardine Dohrn. Okay, so Obama began his bid for presidency at William Ayers' home to strategize with his longtime friend and admitted domestic terrorist. So this is what I'm finding out. And next I find out that he's a member of Reverend Wright's anti-American racist church. And Obama has Muslim associations Obama participates in Muslim activities, which is fine, but then he lied about it. Okay? And then I would also point out that immediately after the election, Michelle Obama said she was never proud to be an American citizen until her husband won the presidency. Okay, folks, this is very telling. This is an anti-American statement from an anti-American citizen. Now, I know I'm going to receive a lot of pushback from every woman and every black person in America. But folks, this is the truth. Look, any pro-American may have had days when they have questioned America's actions. But for any individual to live their entire life in America and was never proud to be an American until her husband was elected president, that is a very telling statement. And she gave herself away, folks, with that one statement. Okay? That's very simple. She has never been a pro-American, and she still isn't. Okay? Yes, even while they were in the office, they were not pro-American, because the policies reflect that. You see, folks, people give themselves away when they speak, and they are hiding something. Okay? Clearly, this person is not a pro-American. Rather, she seems to be an anti-American citizen. Okay? So, which, also means that if she's anti-American citizen, it stands to reason that her husband is also an anti-American citizen, because all of his actions and policies reflect that. Okay, so anyways, let's move on to McCain in 2008. So this is what I came up with on his short list. Military service to America. American war hero. Endured 5 years of torture while refusing to be released before the rest of his men, while he could have been. Okay, strong American values. Served as a senator with integrity and morals. Pro-American. Not racist. Okay, so these were the choices we had, and to me, it was a no-brainer. Come on. Clearly, the vote would and should go to an American hero, right? And not to an anti-American citizen who attends racist churches and hates America, right? Who campaigns and associates with racists and terrorists and... Come on, folks. Well, the media buried Obama's past and got on board with the DNC because, as I've been shouting for years, and as we now know and has been exposed, that this is a common practice between the media and the Democratic Party, and it has been going on for decades, and it's time to stop it and expose it for what it is. And this, again, is un-American, and I would say anti-American as well. Let's replace the corrupt media before it's too late, folks. Okay, now let's examine Obama after he became president. And after Obama was elected, he immediately began to govern like a dictator. And Obama immediately engaged in espionage campaign to spy on Americans. Okay? And this was in full force and targeting conservative groups and any who would challenge him, like General Flynn. Okay, folks? So let's look at this. Let's examine it. Obama used those espionage. He was spying on you. He was spying on me. He could spy on whoever he wanted. Okay? So this is a fact. And, okay, so folks, Obama was possibly the most successful president in the last 100 years. And I know you're all saying, what? After the statements I've just been making. Okay, let me explain. Obama's agenda was to destabilize our economy and to destabilize our military. And he was successful. And at the same time, create radical diversity and civil unrest in order to mask the real agenda. Okay, and this has all been going on. The real agenda was to open our borders to any and all who would want to enter our lands, to weaken our society, and to kill our people. Okay? So it's a fact, folks. It might not be one you like, But if you look at the evidence, you cannot deny it. As a matter of fact, as I go through these lists of facts of Obama through these next 2 hours or hour and a half or whatever it's going to be, let's just imagine that this isn't Obama. Let's put the name Trump in front of that, of all of these actions. Let's put anybody's name. Let's just remove Obama's name and look at the actions and the content of character. Okay? So here's a quick fact. Military pilots have died at an average rate of right around 25 per year, I believe, in 2014, 2015. I'm just recalling this because, you know, when I'm thinking here. But these were not due to combat. I don't have the actual statistics right in front of me, but I believe it was about 25 per year. And I may have the years, it may have been 2015, 2016, but I think it was 2014, 2015. 25 pilots per year. Death. Dying. Not due to combat, but due to taking off and landing with junk equipment because Obama sent those funds to some other country. Okay? Obama is responsible for those pilots' deaths. Plain and simple, folks. As the military had to scavenge the junkyards in order just to recycle old parts that were defective to put on these planes. And this is why our pilots are dying. Not because of military action, because they were practicing. Okay? Practicing with junk because Obama wouldn't give the money to get the right material. That, again, is an anti-American position and a policy that killed American soldiers. And that's why American soldiers never supported Obama. Okay? Okay, so after Obama, you know, here's a few ways that Obama has achieved his hidden goals. First, by redistributing taxpayer money to the rest of the world. Simply. Okay? Again, he bows down to Muslim leaders, kisses the rings of the Muslim kings, sympathizes with Muslim terrorists, frees Muslim terrorists, praises cop killers, and reprimands police. He has anti-police policies and anti-white actions. Okay, fact. First and foremost, the #1 act of treason committed by President Obama and Secretary Clinton was to allow the Russians to obtain 20% of America's uranium. Okay? That is a fact. Okay? The reason that that is considered treason by my standards is because I'm applying the standards that all the Democrats are espousing, and that is that we're at war with Russia. And we're at a cyber war with Russia, okay? So if we're going to apply those standards, we're at war with Russia and we're giving Russia our nuclear bomb-making materials, that, I would say, is a very clear case of treason, okay? And the Clinton Foundation factually received $145 million payoff from Russia and Putin and his friends, who now are all in control of 20% of America's uranium. Okay? This is the only collusion with Russia. This is the selling out of America by Clinton and Obama. The reason this is treason is because our government officials signed off to sell uranium to our enemy again. Okay, so, you know, if they're going to apply those standards to Trump, we're going to apply them to them. Fact, Obama is anti-Israeli. And Obama meddled in the Israeli election and attempted to influence the election to overthrow the current leader, Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay, that is a fact. The fact is, the Obama administration distributed $300,000 to a group in Israel, an anti-Benjamin Netanyahu group, and with one goal, and that was to eliminate Benjamin Netanyahu. Why, folks? Again, ask yourselves that question. Okay, that's what I would like to know as well. Why? I think I know the answer, but I'm going to let that information come out here in the future, and it's going to come out. Fact. America's fact. Obama's selling out of Israel is selling out America's top ally. because the fact is, America's top ally is Israel. So, and he's been doing this to them for 8 years, and anything he can do to make their lives worse, he does. So, fact, Obama, a sitting American president, tried to sabotage our main ally and their leader. Why? I want to know. I know this is redundant, but I'm going to keep asking the same question. Okay, fact, Obama is anti-Semitic, just like most Muslim radicals. Most Islamic Muslim radicals, well, let's say all, are anti-Semitic, and Obama is no different. Fact. Next, Obama gave Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, gave 1.5 billion American taxpayer dollars, okay, which they can now use, by the way, along with the uranium from Russia, to complete their nuclear dream of wiping out Israel and America. Okay? Russia and Iran are buddies. Okay? They're going to get together. They both got, hey, we got 150 billion those idiot Americans gave us. Hey, we got that uranium from the traitors Clinton and Obama. Let's make the bombs. Come on, folks. We can see what's happening plainly. This is the selling out of America. Fact. Obama tried to send pallets, well, he did send pallets of our taxpayer cash under cover of night and tried to keep it hidden by using unauthorized planes and procedures, and didn't go through the normal banking procedures that were required. And, hey, like, hello, folks, pallets of cash. Okay? This was Obama's payoff to his Muslim brothers. I know how that sounds, folks. But again, Obama praises Muslim terrorism. He does not go against it. That's why he refuses to use the term. Okay, folks? Very simple to see. Fact. In 2011 and again in 2015, Obama destroyed American privacy rights with Executive Order 12-333. Which promptly led to the unmasking of many people, including General Flynn. Okay? All right? This action was another anti-American action designed to do many things, but the two most significant results were the unmasking of General Flynn and the spying on the Trump campaign and Donald Trump. Yes. I am going to say it again. Obama, hey, look, if you're going to do it once, you're going to keep doing it. It's like a drug for this guy. He loves to spy on people, okay? It's just a fact, folks. You may not like it. It's the truth. He is like Putin. He likes to spy on people. He is like Hitler, who loved to spy on people, okay? All right? I don't see Trump doing that. Maybe he's going to have to if he wants to, find out who these spies are spying on him. Anyways, which is obvious to anyone who incorporates common sense here. Okay, fact. Now I'm going to tell people something that most people don't know. 1 out of every 2 Americans are already in the FBI database facial recognition program. And that is a fact. Half of America is already in the facial recognition program, folks. And I'll discuss more on that later, as I predicted this many years ago as well, along with the chips in the hands, which is now coming to fruition as well. Fact, the system using the DOL to take your, the system is using our own DOLs to take our picture and then to send it to the FBI. Okay, this is happening every time you go into the DOL and you have your picture taken. And thus, we are all already being tracked whenever we step in front of these cameras. They know exactly who we are. Okay? And so, this is a reality of a police state under Obama. That he wants to spy on anybody who would have, challenged him. And he did. Okay? And there is evidence to that, and we will get to that. Okay? And so, this is the reality of the police state under Obama, Mueller, Comey, Clapper, Lynch, and all the rest of these scumbags. Okay? To use a phrase from Maxine Waters. So, fact. As a result of Obama's policies, the entire country is subject to being monitored or unmasked for whatever, whenever, and however. So if you have something that you don't want people to know about, folks, I would suggest you stop using your iPhone. All right? We have seen it with Obama spying on reporters and conservative groups and General Flynn and anyone he wanted to. And this continues to transpire under the traitorous bureaucrats that work in our institutions right now. And in the intelligence agencies. Okay, these people are not putting our best interests, you know, of course they always say, hey, this is in the best interest of America for national security. Okay, folks, these intelligence operators have their own agendas. And we may never know what their true agendas are. But the fact is, Robert Mueller and James Comey were both complicit in these anti-American actions with James Clapper. Okay? Fact. Robert Mueller was appointed to be the director of the FBI after 9/11, and he held that post for 12 years. And I believe that was the longest reign, with the exception of J. Edgar Hoover, who was another piece of work and another whole show, but I would quickly point out that Hoover did whatever the hell he wanted to whomever the hell he wanted to, and whenever he wanted to. For instance, like Albert Einstein, when he went after Einstein because Einstein embarrassed Hoover in the press. Sound familiar? I see a correlation, folks. History repeats itself, and we're seeing that now with Comey and Mueller. Okay? They have one agenda. Okay? Fact. Under Robert Mueller's leadership, the country was already being spied on by this Mueller creep. Okay? This guy's a creep, folks. He's not reputable. I don't care what they say. Do the math. Look at it for yourselves. Don't believe what they're telling you. Fact. Edward Snowden exposed the Bush and Obama administrations for spying on the American people, led by Mueller and Clapper, who are not reputable people. And I'm tired of hearing how good these people are. Again, okay? They're scumbags, to use Maxine Waters' phrase. Again, I will see their actions. Maybe I'll own that scumbag, or maybe I'll take that scumbag over, because this is what these people are. They are scumbags. They have one agenda, and that is their own agenda. Okay? And I see their actions, and they don't match their descriptions. They're not good people. Robert Mueller is a viper that preys on innocent American citizens. And Comey is his little, quote, little but big buddy. And they are in collusion right now as we speak, folks. Let's not bury our heads in the sand. They're buddies. They're best buddies. You don't think that they're colluding? You don't think that this is how business in America gets done, folks? On the golf course, when the judge is talking to the lawyer, hey, I need my client to get set free, blah, blah, blah. This is how America works, folks. Let's not bury our heads in the sand. Okay? Mueller, Comey, the FBI, the NSA, all used the 9/11 terror attack to unleash this wave of unprecedented anti-American actions in the guise of Homeland Security. Okay? So Mueller is one of the architects for this unprecedented corruption, spying, and unmasking against the American people, and that is a fact. And now he is working in concert with Comey and the rest of these unsavory characters to destroy our president. The irony for Edward Snowden is that he is charged with the Espionage Act, and he never spied on anyone. He may have broken the law and taken some documents that proved and exposed the actual governmental espionage taking place against the entire population of America and the entire world. But, you know, that's why where we are, folks. And we're going to have to cut off this hour. We're going to begin our 6th segment of episode 1. And again, thank you again for tuning in. Please do not miss our final hour. The most explosive and damaging evidence is yet to come. And you will, I guarantee, be shocked when you see everything laid out in front of you. So we're going to cut off here, and we'll pick up where we left off again. Thank you for tuning in to One Eye News, America's Eye, laser focus on the truth. I'm Johnny D, keeping my eye on the truth for America. And again, folks, please follow us on Twitter, contribute at Patreon, share us, like us, and retweet us, and help us get the word out. Okay, thank you again, folks.